All right, cool. Well, yeah, thank you guys for being here. Good to see some familiar faces. Everyone's familiar faces right now. Well, yeah, cool. I'm Max Moore with Gig Strategic. Today we're talking about 5 quick wins for your business with digital marketing. And this is designed to be 5 things that you can do as a business owner or an entrepreneurial person within your business that are pretty quick, easy, and free for you to do on a basic level. And thank you for the Chamber for hosting. Cool. So I'm Max. Our founder is James Burton. He's been in town a while. I've been in this business about 2 years, and I'm kind of the second person to come on board with the company and stick around as a full-time employee. So it's been a great ride together. We've grown a lot over the past couple of years. Worked with a lot of other great folks in town across many different industries and niches, and many other chamber members as well. And James had worked for Merkle previously, doing like big digital marketing for Fortune 100 clients, and did that for several years. Enjoyed it, but his heart is really local business here in Charlottesville. So that's why he started Gig Strategic, so we could just be more involved in the local community and help out business owners and take control of their online presence. And our goal really is to help business owners best understand, manage, and benefit from their online presence. We never want to start an engagement with somebody and just sell something and say, yep, here you go, here it is. We want to be an active partner with somebody, take you along for the ride, help you learn a little bit more about digital marketing on the way, and what are all the pieces going on that go into your online presence. So 5 quick wins today that we're talking about, 5 areas. Number 1 is your Google business profile. Number 2, your Google reviews. 3, social media. 4, your website content. And 5 is writing a blog. We're going to go through each of those one by one. So number 1, your Google business profile. This is your basic listing in Google. I think you guys already have this. Most people already have it, and they don't always realize they do, but they do. It's your listing in Google that links to your map, your reviews, your photos, your website, everything, your home base in Google. So at a basic level, you just want to fill in as much information as possible, for sure. Just give Google as much information about your business as you can, and so consumers can see who you are and what you do. Of course, a lot of quick and easy things like your name, your address, your phone number, website and hours, and a few things that are a little more involved that are also good to fill in, like your category and attributes of your business, your products and services. You can submit a description from your business, which is like your tagline that you have control over. It can be, quick paragraph quote about your business and who you are. And there's also space for a Q&A there, where real people can ask questions and you can leave answers, or you can start to seed the questions with some of your own, have some friends put in a few of their own. Just as much information as you can. Because then other sites can pick this up from Google as well, other listing sites, other directories. It just gives the internet more of you to look at. This is what it looks like on the back end of your Google profile. Just want to go in through here, just kind of go through the sections. If you haven't done this in a while, let's take a brief trip through each section, fill out as much as you can. And the reason this is so important is because your Google business profile is the largest contributing factor to your listing in Google and how well you come up. It's not the only factor, but it is the largest one at 33% of your search ranking power. If someone is looking for your niche in your area, if they're looking for real estate in Charlottesville, financial planner in Charlottesville, Google business profile has a lot of strength. And sometimes it's interesting to think about, take like a reverse engineering perspective. We use Google all the time. We often don't think about everything going on behind the scenes. What makes someone stack up and be ranked number 1? It's interesting to think about. And if you reverse engineer it, it usually makes sense. So this is a search of restaurants in Richmond, Virginia. So Google profile and reviews, definitely very important for restaurants, and the top results coming up. It makes sense. It's people with great photos, tons of great reviews, and I'm sure they have their website linked through here as well. It's intuitive. You're not going to see somebody with 3 2-star reviews number 1 in a competitive category. This is an example of something else you can do. You can add in photos regularly to your own Google business profile. These are some other friends we help out with at Woodard Properties, and they give me permission to use this. So just their cover photo, for example, It's been seen over 950,000 times over the past couple of years, just because they put it there, and they're good about updating the things their team does, their event does. Yeah, just a great way to continually feed information. Cool, and you can add posts too. So this is a nifty thing that not too many people know about. You can add posts to your Google profile just like you would for a social media profile, just like your Facebook. And these will pop up kind of towards the bottom of that card. We do this for Geek Strategic and some of our clients as well. And it's just one more factor, one more edge you can try to get over the competition in search rankings if you're doing these posts regularly, talk about different topics that you got going on at your business. And you might think, so none of these things, is any one of those things the key? Does it really matter? Do I have to put all this work in? It all forms a big picture. When you look at the big picture, the answer is yes. You can see in this kind of example, who looks more trustworthy? Carl's Electric or Ernie's Electric? If somebody doesn't have their website linked, no reviews, no photos, no hours, no website, it doesn't look trustworthy as a business. And you're going to worry about their attention to detail. Are they real? Are they legit? Somebody's like Ernie's, for example, they're on the other side. They got tons of great reviews, a good website link, all these great photos, questions and answers. You can tell they care a lot about their brand and their online presence. They're putting in work to define and defend that. And I feel much more comfortable going with them as a business just based on that profile. All right, that is a quick walk through Google profile. Probably the quickest win we got there. All right, number 2, customer reviews for mainly Google and Facebook are the top places you want to be getting these. Once again, looking at this same ranking factor graph that we saw before, the Google profile is number 1. Reviews are number 2 at the next biggest strength of how easily you can come up in the map and in search results. Yeah, and again, I wanted to explore a different niche in a different city that I hadn't searched before. I didn't know offhand. I wanted to look up dentists in Richmond to see a bit more of a competitive space and see what the top people are doing. And of course, the top few that come up, they do have tons of great reviews. And I feel pretty confident going with any of these dentists just based off of those reviews alone. Because at the end of the day, your customers, they're happy. They like working with you. They would be happy to leave you good reviews. It's just not always something they're thinking about top of mind. Because they're also busy. There are ways to kind of wedge in there and get a review every now and then. What is the best time to ask for a review? We'd like to call it the moment of truth. This is just something, kind of towards the end of a transaction or a process when you delivered your service and your customers are happy, they're feeling the good vibes from working with you. If you could just take a moment, kind of towards the end of that conversation, say, hey, looks like we've had a great project here. And it'd really mean a lot to me if you could just leave us a quick review on my Google profile. Here's the link right now. Boom. Send it to them in the chat or in the email. And just gives them an opportunity right there because it's easy for people when it's top of mind, but they might forget otherwise. There is some software out there that we recommend for soliciting reviews. We help with that as well in our basic software package, our basic online presence package. And there are other companies that do this exclusively, like Bird Eye Software and Podium. And I can do questions at the end, but also this is pretty informal. We just got a couple of us here, so if anything pops in your mind along the way, just feel free. Cool. Number 3, social media. Starting to get a little more in-depth now. So lots of different avenues we could go down with social media. Today I'll keep it kind of focused on just having a good basic presence, usually Facebook and Instagram. It's something we're seeing these days as this is not your grandpa's social media anymore. And what I mean by that is social media is still relatively new as an industry and as a platform on its own, but they do change quickly. And it wasn't that long ago, we remember first getting on Facebook 10 or 15 years ago. It was kind of fun and exciting. You got a lot of engagement right off the bat just from your regular posts and didn't have to put that much effort in. And it was fun. People discovered you and talked to you. That's not really happening anymore because many people have adopted these platforms and they're quickly getting crowded. So it just takes a little bit of a mindset shift. Like if you're looking at Facebook like it was in 2010, you're not going to be happy, but if you approach it like you need to in 2022, there's still a lot you can do with it. It is becoming a pay-to-play platform a little bit more these days, Facebook and Instagram. And again, it never used to be. It used to be kind of fun and free at the beginning, but it's just the natural consequence of the way things evolve over time. These platforms are providing a valuable space. They have tons of eyeballs, and if 100 people are trying to post in 10 slots, they have to think of a way to monetize that and be able to rank which people are going to be able to get those slots, and that consumer attention. As the platforms have become saturated, this is only a natural result over time. This is kind of an interesting fact. So Facebook has straight up revealed that only 2 to 5% of your page followers will see your posts organically. So people who already like and follow your page, only 2 to 5% of them are going to see your posts most of the time. And it's not because you have bad posts, it's just because there's a lot of content out there, and Facebook has to prioritize. And they're trying to incentivize people to buy into the boosts and the ads a little bit. Instagram, a little bit better of an organic reach still, but it's starting to head in the same direction. And as I said, at the end of the day, this is kind of to be expected in a way. It was never free to advertise on TV, on the radio. That's quite understood that you pay a price to get that valuable platform, to get that consumer attention. These other platforms are no different. They just put more of the controls back in your hands. And you can still win on these platforms with the right strategy. So 2 ways we could go with this: basic social media presence or a social media battle ad plan. Stick to number 1 for now. Cool. You still need social media presence, of course, at the end of the day. Simply because it's become the ground floor of being active on the internet. Customers looking to social media to build trust and brand awareness. If you don't have one, people are going to be thinking like, are you open? Are you alive? Is there anything going on? It's just one more place to be where people kind of expect brands to be communicating these days. And customers do still take action from social media, even if it's not directly from a post. A lot of times with digital marketing, people want to see kind of an instant conversion tracking. And this is not that simple sometimes. And you guys have done sales in different capacities throughout your careers, and you know that the decisions that consumers make are not simple, and it's not an A to B line. And there are tons of factors that go into that and how they trust you. And social media is just one more tool in your arsenal that you can use to help get customers to trust you, to be in front of them. The constant scroll. I don't know if you ever take a moment sometimes, you're in a busy public place, you just take a step back and you kind of be present, you look at what's going on around you. It's astounding how many people will be on their phones. I don't know if you ever noticed this. At the dairy market, in a food hall, or at the gym, even in between sets. People are constantly on their phones, scrolling through social media. Even in traffic, at the traffic lights these days, the lights are turning green and people aren't going because they're on their dang phones scrolling there in traffic. It's kind of ridiculous. And what that means, they're giving away their attention. They're giving away their attention freely to these platforms, and whatever content is on those platforms, they are absorbing. So it's a very important place for your brand to be taking advantage of that attention that people are freely giving away. Skip one page. Cool. One more reason to do social media with a dedicated plan is that it gives you more power in search engines like Google too. So of course, if you search your name, you want your website to be the top thing that comes up for your name search. For Gate Strategic, it is for us. It's our website listing. That's our Google Business Profile listing. But then beyond that, there's a lot of other opportunity to get ranking power with those social media sites because Google likes these sites because they have a lot of authority too. So after that, we have our LinkedIn coming in, and our Facebook, our Instagram, our Twitter. We just want to control every aspect of our brand presence that we can, the same way that we advise our clients to. So we're going to use that strategy as Gate Strategic to make sure we dominate the Google page for our search results and have a good brand that's consistent all the way through.
And I see your chamber listing is there.
And chamber listing, yeah, chamber listing there too. That's the next thing after social media, so that's great. And then Google, these are some of the posts going out on the Google Business Profile, as I mentioned too. So what would that kind of plan look like? Just take some time, set aside time to plan out posts before the month so that you have it all ready to go. You don't have to be trying to think of something throughout the day, like, oh, I gotta do a Facebook post. Like, take some time, plan out your content, and that'll help you have a more clear and strategic vision with your messaging as well. If you plan it out beforehand, oh, I want to do 2 posts about my services, I want to do 1 fun thing, I want to do 1 employee spotlight, I want to do 1 event that we attended. If you set out a plan like that, it'll help you know what to pay attention to over the course of the month. Definitely what platforms to be on, definitely still Facebook, Instagram, Google as your Google business profile. You can do social media posts, and LinkedIn for professional folks, geared more towards professional services. And something that's doing well on LinkedIn these days, I've been seeing a lot of more kind of text and story based posts are doing pretty well and get a lot of organic reach, like maybe like a 1 to 200 story that's a little bit more off the cuff or informal from some like business influencer type people. You break that out like 1 line per, like a line and a space, a line and a space, so it's like kind of 1 sentence per paragraph. It's very easy to read, it's very engaging. I haven't seen those kind of story posts doing well recently. It's a good idea to use a calendar or post planning tool so that you don't have to be logging into the networks natively every time to do it. We have one with our basic package, for example, where you just make the post 1 time, and that'll sync out to your Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, any other platform you want. Saves you a lot of time and energy. Take advantage of video. Definitely a big one right now. Video is great for engagement. It's great for your brand voice and showing consumers who you are. And it's a chance to be kind of informal and off the cuff and just little things throughout the day that come up. Hey, I'm here having lunch, whatever, I'm going to a real estate meeting, I'm showing around this house, you know. People like to see informal and the face behind the brand. It's also great because people are consuming social media on their phones, on this vertical screen a lot. So even if you're doing like an informal mobile video, that takes up a lot of space on the screen. Another chance to increase your engagement. Adopt new features. If you can be on the lookout for new features that are coming from Facebook and Instagram, they're always trying to add new things and one-up the other networks. So they need content and they need creators who are going to adopt these new features because they want audiences to consume it. So Instagram Reels is a relatively recent example of that. Much better organic reach on Instagram Reels than you do on regular Instagram posts because they're trying to mimic the TikTok style of just like a video feed. Facebook stories, Instagram stories, everyone's doing stories these days. YouTube has stories even. It's kind of crazy. TikTok, definitely do recommend if you're up for it. That still has kind of that new social media flair where it's fun and exciting and you can get a lot of organic posts like Facebook and Instagram was in the beginning. And there you're going to want to go for more kind of fun and trend-based content. If you spend a little time on TikTok and find out some of like the sounds that are trending, put those sounds in your video. That can help it blow up because TikTok likes to promote certain sounds at certain times or certain visual effects and voiceover effects. They have all these little like tweaks that they like to promote, and if you use them, you can really take off. 5 for 25. This is one idea for kind of a basic social media ad strategy. If you want to dip your toe into advertising, get a little more boost. Say take 5 posts over the course of the month on Facebook or Instagram and say, all right, I'm going to put $25 of a simple ad boost on each one and see how they do. And this is a great way to, number one, see what kind of content your audience likes and could attract new people. You can judge how your content goes. And of course, to get new viewers, new followers, a steady brand presence for people who may not know you already. Cool. That is rounding out social media. Jim, you got some folks that like do social media within.
Yeah, we have. Yeah. We do. Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Are you involved with that, or you just kind of like let them run with it?
I let it run most of the time. Yeah, it's hard to trace it back to a sale, you know. Yeah, it's hard to say. Okay, we post. But how does that get us to a sale, especially as a brokerage? Because we're obviously posting the picture as a brokerage rather than as an individual agent. some of my individual agents who post about themselves get business because they're posting about themselves. But the brokerage itself, people don't really go to brokerages to say, hey, do you have an agent for me? They go directly to the agent. Do you see?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
so
Yeah, and that's one point we run into a lot with folks talking about these kind of plans is, yeah, it is hard to trace back. It's hard to see a direct ROI if you're trying to measure that. But we always encourage folks to keep doing it, keep doing what you're doing. It's just one other way to have your brand out there, show who you are, show that you're active and reputable.
Yeah, I think it's more, it shows that you're active and you're in the community. Yeah,
Definitely,
I think it definitely works on that scale.
Definitely. Okay, number 4 is website content. So the actual content, text, images, features on your website. That's the best way to optimize that for digital marketing. It's good to take a step back and examine, what purpose does your website serve? A lot of things it should be doing. Number 1, it should inform your customers about your products and services, of course, pretty basic. Number 2, attract new customers looking for your niche, because if you have well built out content on your website, it gives Google more to look at and more chances to rank on the search engines if you have a lot of different content about real estate, buying homes, selling homes, different agents. No matter what people are searching for, it gives you a chance to come up for that. Should allow customers to easily contact you and make a purchase. And it can also serve as a library of media content. Another way you can go about it. I'm always in a marketing and a media mindset just because of who I am and what I do for work and also as a musician. So I'm always thinking of just like building up my library, keeping that content fresh. So I encourage others to adopt that same mindset and just document what you're doing, even if it's not mind-blowing, even if it's nothing crazy. Just document your activity. You can put it on your website too. And it should allow you to answer FAQs, post updates about your hours, special events, and promotions. Okay, and when we think about the actual content on your website, 2 quick areas I will mention: having customer-facing language and writing with SEO in mind. So does your website have customer-facing language? Good question we should all ask ourselves every now and then, and I probably fall into this trap too. We are dedicated industry professionals and we know our industry inside and out. Sometimes we forget what a consumer coming with a fresh mind and a fresh perspective, what their knowledge level is going to be walking into your kind of industry. So it's always good to think about, does your language resonate with someone who isn't familiar with what you do? As an example, these are real results from different cybersecurity company websites I found around the web. I'll try to read this real quick. So we are an advanced technology consulting firm specializing in data center designs, Arista and Cisco Nexus Cloud multi-tenant managed services, and typical enterprise data centers, IPv6 network assessments and managed services for companies that do not have the expertise in-house to support more advanced technology. That's all one sentence. We are an organization comprised of motivated entrepreneurial engineers. How does this feel to you guys as someone who isn't familiar in cybersecurity?
What was the second sentence? That's not so bad.
Yeah, second sentence not too bad, yeah.
Yeah, it's confusing.
Yeah, it's confusing. It's like, it's hard to be engaged because we don't know what all these buzzwords are. I'm sure this is all true and these guys know what they're doing, but it's hard to walk into that as a consumer. Second example, I think a lot better. With today's nonstop threats, cybersecurity is more important than ever. We use best-in-class services to build a custom strategy for your business, including cybersecurity, mobile protection, and cloud backup and recovery, and so on. I think a much better example of putting it in terms the customer understands. Shorter sentences. They still talk about some of the features and the key cybersecurity terms, but it's much more about what it does for the consumer. Like, I don't really care about IPv6 networks or whatever if I'm running a business. I just want peace of mind, security. I want to know my data is protected. That's what they ensure us. So, good thing to think about is your website have customer-facing language. Writing for the web, a little bit different than the way we learned to write in college, or that you write a contract, for example. I don't know if you guys have any recent college grads that come through your offices at all, and sometimes we've had this. Sometimes we have to train them a little bit. Write for the web, write for the web, write for business. It's not like an academic essay where you're trying to get to that word count and fill in a bunch of fluff. You want short, punchy sentences, simple vocabulary, short paragraphs with plenty of line breaks, headings and subsections. Use those frequently throughout your website because people are scanning quickly. They have short attention span online. You want them to instantly know where they are within your content. And frequent use of your keywords. So the keywords that you have in mind that you want to rank for SEO. And tell the reader exactly what you want them to do. You want it to be very clear. You don't want to leave it to them to have to figure out where they're supposed to go from here. You know, book, have a little button, call to action. Book an appointment now. Book a demo now. Purchase now. And it kind of ties into writing with SEO in mind. SEO, I should double check, stands for?
Search engine optimization.
Yeah, you got it. And so you always want to think about your SEO strategy first, then you plan your content from there. When we talk about SEO strategy with our clients, we're talking about local SEO. So that is how well do you come up for your niche in Charlottesville, in your geographic area. So you want to have just 5 to 8 key phrases that you use frequently in your website that are your key terms. Financial planner, financial advisor, banker, real estate agent, real estate broker. Include that geographic area frequently in the website text as well. So hey, we're in Charlottesville, we do this in Charlottesville, because that gives Google more information about you in Charlottesville. And make sure you fill in all your page titles and headers as well. Because at the end of the day, there are no tricks anymore when it comes to SEO. Sometimes people ask me like, hey, what's the new SEO hack? What's the new trick this month? I just want to get to #1 in Google, you know? There are no tricks. Google is smart, and they want to just sincerely connect consumers with dedicated local businesses who do these services in their area. So it takes time, just building out quality content, quality writing, showing that you are who you say you are, and you do what you say you do. Cool, so that was web content, talks about customer-facing language, and writing with SEO. All right, last section, blogging. It's a bit of a quicker one. So 10 years ago, blogging has the same kind of feel that it was like social media did at the beginning, where it was kind of popping, it was a new trendy thing, and it seemed like you could get a lot of new visits to your site just from having a simple blog, shoving some keywords in there. Not really the case anymore. It's also getting more competitive as a space, but still very good reasons to have a blog. And this would be on your own website. You can just, most website builders have a pretty easy way to set up a blog page that would live on your own website. That's content that you update frequently. Number 1, search engines will prioritize sites with regular content updates. Your website is not usually as much that you can update regularly as much as social media, but a blog is a way to do that very easily. Just have regular things coming out once a week, even if it's simple, 400, 500 words, a couple pictures. Gives you more opportunities to rank with your chosen keywords. If you really want to do a deep dive on one of your service areas, the blog gives you a chance to do that. It's just another way to build trust with potential customers. When they see who you are and they see that you're writing regularly about this topic, it poses you as an expert in your industry. And there's not as much pressure to be formal with a blog. You can kind of take this any direction you want. Be a little more off the cuff, talk about things you might not get to in your normal business communication, tell some different stories about the course of your career, talk about industry things going on, talk about local news, anything you like really. Add a bit more of your own flavor to it. And it's just a rewarding new habit in its own right. I don't know if you guys like to write at all. I'm a bit of a writer at heart, and it always just feels good for me to put my thoughts on paper, organize something, send something out there into the world and say, you know, this is who I am, this is what I do. What results can blogs have? So this is an example of a client we work with, DiStefano Landscaping. They're in Vermont, actually. We didn't write this blog for them. They wrote it on their own, but it is just a good example of what I'm talking about. So they wrote a simple blog. It was about 400 to 500 words about perennial maintenance, what to cut back in the fall and spring. And it just kind of blew up. It became the #1 result in Google nationally for anyone looking for that question, perennial maintenance, what do I do, what do I cut? They had been getting about 1,000, 2,000 visitors to their site per month usually, and this really popped off in October of 2020. Google judged that, hey, this is good content all of a sudden. Became the #1 result, and they got a ton of traffic to their website. Definitely did spike and level off, but then at a much higher level beyond then. Okay, so it's good to be discovered for one thing. Definitely not all those people are customers, but a rising tide lifts all boats. When you get that one SEO hit and increases the traffic to your site, Google will say, hey, this is a popular site that's getting a lot of engagement. Let's rank them higher for a lot of their other things too, which was the case, and they have a lot of great #1 rankings. You just never know when something's going to catch fire. You can also obtain a featured snippet in Google. This is sometimes if you ask a specific question, Google will prioritize one of these blogs or answers very prominently. This is an example from Hospice of the Piedmont. This is a blog we did right for them. Kind of a niche question, benefits of children and seniors spending time together. But if someone looks up that information, we got their listing up here right at the top, very prominent. Google judged they're the best answer for that question. That's like in a national search. Yeah, and at the end of the day, you get a blog, you get people to your website, they become followers, they become informed about you and your business, eventually they can become customers. And you could even earn money blogging if you want to have a dedicated blog. You get a lot of dedicated readers, you can open up ad space on those blog pages and have featured content, you can have affiliate links, all kinds of ways you can go with it. Okay, wrapping it all up, kind of as Jimmy mentioned before, do any of these actually make you money? It's hard to draw a direct line between any of these factors and consumer decisions. We like to look at it this way. I mean, who would you rather be at the end of the day? Business A, they do a little bit with these kind of things. They don't really prioritize it. They got a decent website, some other stuff out there, but it's hard for them to draw direct ROI, so they don't really make it a priority. Or business B, who says, you know what, I think it's important to be online. I just want to treat it like a discipline and a steady habit. I'm going to put effort into all these things, and after a while, you got a really banging presence with a great profile, reviews, social media, website, blog. It's all built out. You just have a really strong brand presence that you're in control of. And kind of as I mentioned before, consumers don't always make decisions in a straight line, even in our own purchasing habits and with major kind of purchases or different services, a lot of different points affect our decision-making process along the way. It's people we know around town, people we build relationships with, people that we see a lot and that we trust. And online is just another place where you really want to be doing that to amplify your voice and supplement what you're doing in person. All right, thank you very much. That concludes the informational portion of this talk. Thanks for being here. And if you have any other questions or just off the cuff kind of things, we can talk about that now.
I have a couple of questions.
Yeah.
Of course, this is what I do, so I'm always curious. One thing that I